Yes, Aditi ma'am.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We can continue the session.
Okay. Yes. So now we start from taking some real scenarios. So likewise, I just explained in the previous section session. So we can't like intrude into anybody's website simply. Like for example, we are taking the example of Facebook. So we can't directly take Facebook as an example for our testing. So because that is not the legal way, like to intrude into somebody's assets, to start working with a process of searching vulnerability, we must know that host is allowing us to intrude into their system, that host is allowing us to check for vulnerabilities in their system. For example, like our organization website is there, synopsis.com. We don't even allow someone to simply come and do for vulnerability assessment. So there is some certain time of frame when we used to tell everybody, please come and do security assessment or vulnerability assessment and report it us to somewhere, so that we can get to know about the vulnerability and we can simply pay you back for that vulnerability. So for that kind of information, who all companies are offering vulnerability assessment, we have to know that. So that vulnerability assessment for those companies comes up with another new term, that is bug hunting. So we can also say bug bounty hunting. So bug bounty means we are getting going to get some paid heavily if we found some vulnerability. For example, if I found one vulnerability in Facebook during the bug bounty program, then I will definitely get paid for the high amount. So how to get to know all those information for finding vulnerabilities, where I can find a vulnerability, where can I report the vulnerability, and who all companies are offering vulnerability program. So for that, there are few authorized platforms. So one thing is this, we have to be go by authorized platform, because running around hacking some site is seriously a illegal cause. We can't make sure to target such kind of source, so that we can't get into some trouble. To get started, all you have to do is to sign up at once of the many bug bounty program. So now vulnerability assessment is simply not stayed as a vulnerability assessment. If we found one vulnerability, we will get some good amount of money. So here comes up some serious kind of programs, or few we can say user, they are simply dependent on bug bounty program for their living, because they are keep on checking for these kind of program, they are keep on finding vulnerabilities. So due to which they will get highly paid, and they simply settle down for the living on that payments as well, because those payments are not very small, they are huge payments. So one such good website is HackerOne. So HackerOne is one of the most popular, widely used bug bounty platform out there. So HackerOne works with all kind of companies to bring them to their platform. So let us come to the browser to check what kind of vulnerability HackerOne is offering. So this is the official site of HackerOne. So we can go and find the details under these kind of tabs. So but we are only interested in looking for vulnerabilities. Actually we were looking for bug hunting program so that we can get paid for the vulnerability. So for that we have to come into the particular section. So this is under the product, so there is hacker1 bounty, hacker1 response, and these kind of thing. Hacker1 assessment is already there. So whatever we have discussed, vulnerability assessment, so this can be have further information as well. So if we come to hacker1 bounty, so what exactly it is saying, so you can 1 minute, I'll just maximize. I think this is not visible. I'll just scroll down to, okay, request to demo. Okay, so this is hacker1 programs. Okay, something choosing right. This is the program. Okay, so this is some website change. I'm looking for 1 minute. Okay, so this is bug bounty program page information. We can come to this page and we can get more information what all are the companies are associated with this bug bounty program. So if we take this example, or let us take one any one of the company website. So Algolia is taking, will click here. So this is the program details. So this is a company name Algolia. So they have hosted API search that deliver instant and relevant result from the first keystroke. So this is some company, they have given some information what exactly they are doing. But if we are interested in more, then we can click here and we can find more information. So this they have information when their bounty program get launched. It get launched in November only. So they have given the complete information of policies, but policies they are giving. So a scope website they have also given. They have given minimum reward of $1,000 for security vulnerability. So if any vulnerability we found related to Algolia website, it can be any kind of vulnerability related to authorization, related to their APIs, because something they are working with API. So if there is any information leakage with the help of APIs, that can also be become the vulnerability. So that can, if any kind of vulnerability we got, at least minimum thousand $100 we got. But if actually the vulnerability is higher, vulnerability higher, or maybe it's disclosing more sensitive information, it can be more. But at least this amount would be $100. So this way we can get the payment for finding the vulnerability on somebody's website. This can be make as a second source of income, or maybe as just a hobby, just to look for the vulnerability and start learning new tools and start learning new vulnerabilities. So who all are eligible? This can be the information can be here. So who all are not eligible and who are only eligible are here. So what kind of vulnerabilities they want? So like any kind of vulnerability which is not that much important for them, that is not disclosing very useful information, they are not interested for that. So they have given, so login logout CSRF, denial of service, DDoS attack, social engineering, or customer or employees of Algolia, any social engineering on their employees information, self site cross scripting, so miss of rate of limits, so any kind of vulnerability, bugs in third party software they are using, xframe options, so all these vulnerabilities. So breaking of ssl tls certificate, so if their certificate is not valid, like this is one of the certificate we are using here, so these kind of information if we get to know, or we found some vulnerabilities, then we can report them. So any DNS record outdated less than 48 hours. So any list of vulnerability that is fall under these kind of categories. Okay, sorry. So this is exclusion. So this is exclusion. If any of the vulnerability fall under this, that cannot be paid, I believe. So other apart from this can be paid. So these are the list of complete list of programs. So how many bounties paid they have? This is the list of that. So average this, but top bounty lies between this range. So this is one site. If we check some other popular site or company, then their bug bounty program will pay you heavy amounts. So we'll see for the Amazon as well. So Amazon vulnerability research program is there. It is launched in April 2020. We have to also check if this program is like active or if it is deactive. So now here, as we all know, Amazon is very like popular and very widely used, so they have a more chances of the vulnerability, and they are paying heavy amount. If the vulnerability is low, like medium or very low vulnerability, then we will get paid only dollar 150, then for medium dollar 500, and if you see it, if it is critical, then this is dollar 20,000, which is a huge amount. So like wise this amount is very huge. So if we found one critical vulnerability, then we can get very highly paid. So again, we can read the policies of Amazon, what kind of vulnerability program they have. So this is vulnerability research program, so who can participate, they have given the information, and what all things are getting covered inside the program is also mentioned here. So they have also mentioned services and products in scope. So which services and are in under scope. They have given the information of these kind of URLs. We can click and we can further get the IPs or more information. So these kind of information is here. Rules of engagement they have also given for other types of issues, and like these are the complete page of information that we can see. So here in this we can say in scope vulnerabilities, so which all vulnerabilities are critical, for which they are paying this many figure of amount dollar 20,000. This is related to remote code execution. If somehow I'll be able to execute some malicious code on the Amazon website on any of the scope that they have listed here, any of these scope I will be able to execute remote code execution, then I will get some high amount paid, because this is falling under critical. SQL injection is also critical one. Cross-site scripting is also here. Server side request forgery is also critical. So these kind of vulnerability fall any under this one, then we can get some high to critical range vulnerability. So these are the vulnerabilities which they are looking for, and these are the 3 or 4 vulnerabilities they are not going to pay. So they have clearly mentioned not non-eligible vulnerabilities. And out of scope issues they have also mentioned, out of scope assets they have also mentioned. So this way we can participate in this program. If we found something interesting, we can submit the report here. To submit the report, first I guess I have to create this account, which is very basic stuff, then we can submit the vulnerabilities. So this is one such very good a way to run the vulnerabilities assessment, to participate into the vulnerability assessment program. So these programs are not only good for the money purpose, these are good for learning. We can learn new kind of vulnerabilities, how to expose them, how to find them, and this is really helpful. So another is bug crowd. So this is also similar, bug crowd. This is another website, bug crowd. So to participate in bug crowd, there is also a similar kind of program. So we can directly, this is public bug bounty program list. Public bug bounty means anyone can take participate. So if we participate, this means we are not doing some illegal activities. We are doing some illegal activities because that company only offered these kind of program. So ISC Scare is offering some, one password game is offering something. So these kind of AT&T is also there. So if we click and get more information, some similar kind of information. So they are saying, welcome to AT&T bug bounty program. We are now use a pay per vulnerability model. So they are paying for per vulnerabilities and complete program guideline. We can read it from here, but all things are excluded. We can also read it from here, and program terms condition. So complete information is there. So they haven't disclosed the money that they are going to pay. Yeah, so they have given the range depending on the vulnerability or depending on the severity. They will pay from $50 to $2000. So this is another program. So this way we can only take a list of vulnerabilities. We can participate in vulnerability program by looking into these two websites. There might be chances like company directly give their bug bounty program. So like Paytm. So if few companies, they directly host their bug bounty program on their website. So we can come here, Paytm bug bounty, and we can read what all information. So these are the reward section they are giving. They are giving only 1000 rupees. So which is quite low in regard of what we have seen here. These are in dollars. So these are just Indian rupees directly. So these are the vulnerabilities, complete detail they have given on their website itself. So sometime we can find the website on these bug crowd or hacker one for the bug program. Sometime we can directly come to the website and look for their programs. So now comes in the things. So now we are aware with the bug bounty program as well. We are ready with the checklist. We are ready with the infrastructure. So now I really want to start doing bug bounty. I really want to start to find vulnerabilities. So to find any kind of vulnerability, we have to follow some approach. Like wise, we do make some flow chart, flow diagram, or some step-wise guide, so that end result will lead me to find some vulnerability, or it lead me to help out my website is secure. So before we start trying to hack something, we need to come up with some high level plan of attack. So that is first thing, because without plan we can't or there is very low chances we succeed. So we have to come up with a high level plan of attack. So for that, mostly we can make some flow chart or make some workflow. The easiest way to map out your pen test or bug bounty or hacking processes to make create flowchart, or that describe everything, every step, with the help of checklist as well. So that kind of workflow we have to make. So mostly the very first phase comes for finding vulnerability is reckon workflow. So reckon is If we define reckon word, so reckon is gathering as much as information about the assets. Any queries, sir? Okay. Okay, so if I define this reckon word itself, it is saying discovering as many as information about the asset. So likewise, we have seen the bug bounty program of Amazon. So we have to gather as much as information about the Amazon. So whatever related to Amazon IPs, wherever Amazon servers are hosted, where is Amazon website is hosted, all those information, and which kind of programming version they are using, which kind of server like Apache, which version of Apache they are using. So sometimes directly those version help us to find the vulnerabilities, because those version are exposed to some vulnerability. If we try those vulnerability, we can directly fetch the vulnerabilities. So that can is a very very important phase of doing vulnerability assessment, because here comes a lot of tools with a lot of techniques as well, which help us to find more and more information and more vulnerabilities. So recon is one such very important phase of finding vulnerabilities. So there are traditional workflows as well that usually everyone follow when they start doing the this vulnerability assessment, and they are very common. So if we start following then them as well, so these are very common. Somehow we learn something, but there are very low chances we will get some vulnerability. So there are some more work flows that are non-traditional and fairly unique, which is having a higher chances to find the vulnerability. So I have already break down a few different workflow. Feel free to combine them to forge your one, because everyone will follow the different workflow, because there is nothing ready made. There is nothing like no flow chart is already given or defined by someone. So every person comes up, they've made their own workflow, they try to using their own tools, so to get the vulnerability. Because as soon as finding vulnerability, it is similarly a art and science. So how you play around with the website, that only help us to lead or find the vulnerabilities. So this workflow may be different if you go and check with someone else. You can even define your workflow. I will share mine once. So so this is the very traditional workflow. So for example, this is the company Amazon, and they have opened for the vulnerability assessment program. So how to we can do the things. So first of all, we will go and we will check this CIDR, which is IP domain ranges classless. So we will also check their domains. So for Amazon, how I will check the domains. Then here comes the tools. So we will use tools to check their domains. And once we have their main domains, we can find their subdomains. And to further find subdomains, there are tools like once we find the subdomain, further we can fetch more information related to domain name space, their technology stacks they are using, like any fingerprint they are having, and content discovery. So we can crawl with the Google Doc and any kind of JavaScript files they have, so we can analyze them. So once we have these kind of domain, we can get directly their IPs, and from IP we can do port scan. Again, there is one tool, mass scan, that help us to scan the ports, ANS data. So again, there is a one tool which help us to look for ANS data, and geo IP also we can get the location of IP. So all these steps will be done with the help of tools. So but this is very common and very very traditional one which is followed by all the user, so which lead us to strict to only these kind of tools. We can't do more or something. So if we want to don't follow this workflow, we want to add one or two steps here, one or two steps here, we can design our own workflow. So this traditional workflow is very common for all kind of security assessment. But as we discussed, nowadays, like each website can have a different set of vulnerability. So the traditional workflow further get divided into the based on application category. So we'll see the workflow. So for example, GitHub. So GitHub is a public like a public provide public or private storage for your code, for your file, for your image. So it can be like anything. So you can store anything there. So basically, what developers store here, they develop when they develop any product, so they store their source code. Source code means any code that is used that is developed to for the application. So these kind of source code, they are directly storing on the GitHub. So all the open source project, if we come and see on the GitHub, oh, so we can search any tool on GitHub, open source tool for TLS. So we can see this test ssh.sh tool. So if we come here and we read about here, so this is a free command line tool. So this is free command line tool. So if it is a free command line tool, its code is also freely available with some license guidelines on the GitHub. So we can see these are the complete set of code starting from here till here. This is the complete set of code. We can go inside doc. We can get some documents here, and we can go inside etc folder. These are some pem file dot text file dot m. So this is the complete code of one project. Utility files are here. This is completely, I guess, written in shell script, so multiple shell scripts are there. So this is the complete set of code of one tool. There may be a chances. So for example, there is some marketplace. I want to search for GitHub marketplace. Some project which is related to market project. So this is one project, marketplace, and we will click on this. So this is standalone agile project tool that lets you some thing to do. So this is one other project. If we want to see the code for this is not free, this is paid. We can check another one which is, I'm saying, this is not, yeah. So this is one project which is actually obsolete, is not in use, but the code is there. So we can go and get the code. But these kind of code is already there on the GitHub. So what happened when any developer develop the code and they forget to remove the credentials. Like for example, I'm developing one website and I'm testing it with admin credentials or maybe with my own credentials during the development. But when I push the code to GitHub, that means when I store the code on GitHub, I forgot to remove important information like my credential, admin credentials, and any IP ranges that is open, which port is open, which on which port it is hosted, and application keys or tokens. So these kind of very sensitive information I forget to remove from my source code. So that kind of vulnerability if we have to test, so then we can follow this workflow. So this is again we assume a company like Amazon. So what workflow work here? So we will check for domains. So to check domains, we have another tool, ASN. Like we can check the domains with the tool Amas. So we will practice that little later, and then we can check the company GitHub and employees GitHub as well, and we can do GitHub doc, and we can apply this GitHub repo tool and get some sensitive information out, like some important credentials, some important API keys and token. So this is a very basic workflow which helps to look only vulnerability on the GitHub. So another one is cloud workflow. So as we discussed, like we can host the VM, we can host anything on the cloud platform. So there are several different cloud providers that company use. Instead of hosting their own infrastructure, they host on the cloud. So we can check for the vulnerability on the platform, on those platform. So very basic or common ones are AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, on DigitalOcean. So, for example, I hosted something on Google Cloud, and that has some sensitive information. So, if someone attacked my VM, and they can get my information as well. So, these are similar to storing data in database or storing data in some other file system. So, mostly what is very important and common these days on Amazon is S3 buckets. So if you didn't hear this term, Amazon S3 buckets. So Amazon S3 bucket is a storage system provided by Amazon. So we can create a bucket. Bucket means similar to folder. We can create a folder and we can store anything inside that. It can be file, images, or any information we can directly store to those buckets. So if somehow, and how to access the bucket, so there are keys again, we discussed the APIs keys. So there is some API bucket keys or token that with the help of we can access those Amazon S3 bucket. So if those are breached or lost, or maybe some sensitive information we have stored on the bucket, if they are lost, then again someone can attack us. So to find those kind of vulnerability, for example, Amazon has stored some useful information about their payment gateway. So they have stored all the information on Amazon S3 buckets. So I can, if I get the access to their Amazon S3 buckets, so I can access complete Amazon payment information, what Amazon payment gateway they are using while we are checking out or placing order for something. So what all are the payment gateway? Is there any vulnerability during the payment process? So if I got some information, I can simply reach out and I can simply find the vulnerability and I can log that vulnerability into their bug bounty program. So to find these kind of vulnerability, again we have to check the company domains. We can use tools, ready-made tools are there, open source tools are there to check the domains, and we can brute force also the bucket name. So for example, brute force is like hit and try tool. So for Amazon S3 I will check Amazon bucket name with their product as well, or I can go and get the information by using Google Doc to find a bucket's name. And once I have the access to buckets, I can get some sensitive data out of them. So this is the workflow which is most basically work for the cloud based application. So if application is on cloud, I can use this workflow to fetch the vulnerabilities. Another one is new CVE workflow. So if any of the workflow is combined together, that is also fine. But now I'm just explaining vulnerabilities based on, or maybe a platform based on workflows. So this workflow allowed us to find remote code execution and other critical vulnerabilities. So as we have already seen on Amazon bug bounty program, so this remote code execution is a very critical vulnerability. If somehow we got to get this kind of vulnerability, we will definitely get paid very highly. So unlike other workflows, this workflow is very limited, and the vulnerabilities are very limited, because most of the bug bounty users will try to look for these vulnerabilities, or first of all company try to secure no one can execute any code on them, their platform. So this is very rarely found, and this is not very common, because every day new vulnerabilities are not launched. So they are launched once in a month, or maybe a few times in a year only. So this workflow revolves around targeting the asset as soon as the new vulnerability is launched. Maybe today one vulnerability is launched at 9 o'clock. So my first priority is I should go and check as many as target are under the bug bounty program, so that I will get one vulnerabilities of this kind of categories, and I will get highly paid. So this is vulnerability where we have to act very fast. So these are actually very high impact vulnerability, like SQL injection, remote code executions, cross-site scripting, request forgery. So all these will found under this category. So how the workflow will launch? So we will get some information from the Twitter page, or maybe from the RSS feed. So as soon as the new vulnerability get launched, so as soon as I get information, or maybe there are emails, notifications, or the letter, when I get any vulnerability lost in the world, I will get notifications. So I will find the working POCs. So how that working vulnerability is getting found. So the same POC I will use to fingerprint the other target. For example, that vulnerability is found on the Amazon website. I'll take the same POC and try to find on the Facebook. I'll try to find on the Netflix. I'll try to find on the Flipkart, Snapdeal. So all those famous applications who are under bug bounty program. So this thing is something that we have to keep in mind. So we have to fingerprint that targets who are under bug bounty program and exploit them to have similar kind of vulnerability. So if we found that vulnerability, then we can use the same POC and submit the report. So other kind of vulnerabilities: misconfiguration, non-exploit, or misconfiguration workflow. So sometime when we host website, or when admin created something for us, then again there might be the chances of misconfiguration. So this is the workflow that everyone is most likely already doing. So they are searching for non vulnerabilities. So for example, there is a Apache server on which we have hosted our website, and that is running on Apache 2. So as soon as Apache 2 has a vulnerability, so maybe Apache 2 has some misconfiguration vulnerability. What happened? So all the website that are hosted on Apache 2, so if Apache 2 has some vulnerability, all those application or website that are hosted on Apache 2 may directly have the same misconfiguration, or non-exploit can be breached. So this is very basic, everyone used to do. They try to see what kind of vulnerabilities are getting explored. They will try to do same on the other targets, and the workflow is very similar. So we find the domains ID, we find the IPs, and then we fingerprint out for searching the non vulnerabilities. So another important one is a CMS workflow. So CMS workflow is content management system. So this workflow is similar to non exploit or misconfiguration one. So this workflow is targeting only content management system. Even on our internet, half of the internet is ran by CMS. So WordPress is leading us in this category. So many WordPress websites or blog are hosted. So we can search for them for the vulnerabilities as well. So for these kind of vulnerabilities, the workflow is quite different because they have a different set of technology stack. So for example, there is a company who is having hosted on CMS. So we will look for domains and IPs. As soon as we get the fingerprint or something out of that, we will run the CMS scanner. So these CMS scanners are quite different how they got used. So there are WordPress scanners. So if our website is on WordPress, we can use this scanner. If it is Drupal, we can use this scanner. Joomla, we can use these kind of scanner. So there are multiple other scanners that fall under this category. So we can check these kind of workflow to find the vulnerabilities. So one important workflow is for the OWASP. So this is normally done by manually with the help of little help of automated scanner. So always work having a very highly critical vulnerability list every year. So there are some top 10 vulnerabilities that always show. So the most common and the most mostly the people look for is SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, authentication issues, and many more are there. But these are some most common. So they found in like these kind of vulnerability found in every web application. So be while looking manually on the lookout for architecture and logic flaws. So we have to check architect as well as logic flaws. So manual testing tend to find unique vulnerability, and they actually pay very well for us because in manual activity we used to spend a lot of time. So these are the workflows, very basic for workflows that we have already discussed. So first thing for every kind of workflow is to find information about the domains. Then further it comes up is manual inspection of application, because we discussed OS workflow comes with manual activity. So, manual activity may be running tool manually, maybe running into the website manually, looking page one by one, looking for the APIs, hitting API one by one, and inspecting their output. So that can be manual inspection. And next is automated scanner. Automated scanner can also come, but they are very little in use during OWASP workflow. So most of the time spent is on manual testing. So once we find the OS vulnerability, we can lead them to one of the particular category. So these are the workflows. I'll take 1 or 2 minutes stop here, so we can discuss the workflow or any doubt during the things that we have discussed so far. So as soon as the doubt section is clear, we will further then proceed with the practical session. So I'll stop here for 2 minutes and wait for the queries. Please, dear participant, raise any query if you have. Otherwise, we will proceed. So I'll wait for your queries for 1 more minute. So I assume there is no doubt. So we'll close this one and we'll start doing some practical session. Okay, so I'll start showing some set of tools that will help us to find the vulnerability. But before that, I'll just take one tool that one ma'am was asking regarding the brute force of username password on the login page. I'll just show some highlights how we can do that. So this is a burp suit. So burp suit is basically help us to find the vulnerability, to do vulnerability assessment or all kind of data analysis that we have to do in the security field. So this verb suite is very important. You can directly take the verb suite. So verb suite is available here with the Portswigger official website. So there is a community edition verb suite professional as well. So whatever suits you, you can download for the free as well, I guess available. So you can download. There are multiple plugin inside that directly help us to uh, find the vulnerabilities. So something is there, but professional or it completely depends on on your requirement, which version you want. You want professional one or you want community edition. So that's completely on your requirement. So I will suggest for the initial phase start going with the community edition because it's free. So you can do some manual testing, adding manual tools. So I'll just take some highlighted web versions how we can start. So I just double clicked and I can start some temporary project, I can start new project, or I can open existing project. So maybe I want to for now I'm doing some demo, I just want to do some temporary project. So the setting will be by default setting. So I'm starting the verb suite. Okay, so this is the dashboard of the verbs. Yes sir, any doubt? Yes ma'am. Hello, ma'am, any doubt? Okay, so we'll continue. This is the main UI of the burp suite. The first thing is dashboard. So if we have some task or we have some scans running on, we can get some information here. So another many multiple tabs are there. So what exactly we are going to do here? I'll just explain 2 to 3 tabs only that will help us. The one is the very first one that I will explain is proxy. So proxy is something like if I have proxy my browser, or if I have proxy my user like web application. So how it will proxy? So every I'll just draw some diagram for the thing. So for example, this is my browser, any browser. Let us take example, I'm using Chrome. So this is my Chrome. So from my Chrome, I'm sending request while I'm doing some search. I'm searching something on GitHub. I'm searching on HackerRank, or maybe I'm logging into the Facebook. So every single request is going from the Chrome, and I am getting response back on the Chrome. But let us suppose I want to proxy that request through the burp. So why I will proxy through the burp, that I will explain. So this is burp, because from burp, if I'm sending request from here, I'm sending request, I am just sending request to Facebook login page. So this is Facebook login page. I am sending this is my username and this is my credential. So it is not visible now. I can click here to see, but otherwise if I want to include what are my credential and I want to change during the request, during the request is initiated from my laptop, and I want to analyze the data, what is going and what is coming back on my browser, or it may be anything, it may be Postman, it may be my real time application. So I can proxy that thing. So if I want to proxy that to burp, I can proxy. And oh, now how my this thing will go back, I'll take this. So again I'll take something. So this is actual. So now I sent one request from Chrome with the login credential, for example, test, and password as a test. But I sent the request through burp, and during burp I have a privilege to change this request. I can make this to test one. So this thing I can play around with the request at the burp, and then that request it will become the actual request and goes to the outside world. So how once the request is finalized and calculated by the outside world, where wherever we are sending on the target or web application, or wherever we are sending, once this is calculated, the final response will come back to the burp. Again we can play around the response, and again we have a privilege to send the response from burp to Chrome. So this will work the workflow. So now whenever we have to intrude between the credential, whenever we have to send some invalid credential, we can take help of verb. I'm sending some credential to verb. I will change here. I will play with the actual request and I'll get some response from the actual application, which is anywhere in the outside world. And I can have the response and I can send back the response with altering or without altering to my browser. So this can be browser or any application here, or it can be APIs here. Anything can be here. Similar way here. So in between burp is playing. So this is playing with the request. This is again request. This is response, and this is again response. So this is the workflow of the burp. Actually, what burp suite is do. So now how I will force the request. So for example, I'll open one other the Firefox I'll open. So I'll open this browser Firefox. So for example, I want to make my everything requested through the burp suite. So now you see on this tool intercept under the proxy tab under in intercept is on. So as soon as I open the browser, every single information came here. This is the host name. This is Mozilla 5.0 user agent language. Everything comes up because intercept is on, and I have switched on the firewall proxy. So how I have switched on the firewall proxy, similar way, same things you can do on your machine to test things. So you, or to set the proxy, you have to come to the settings tab. Then there you will find one other tab which is manage more settings. So you can directly search here proxy, come under the settings. So there is option no proxy. If I'll click this no proxy, okay. So you see now whatever I'll search Amazon. I'll search something postpaid bills, or maybe I'll search some bestsellers things. I'm searching something related to bags. Everything I'm able to see because nothing is proxy. Now the data is going directly from here to here. It is coming from Chrome to outside world and from outside to Chrome. There is no play around of the burp suite. But now I want to play around the burp suite. So I'll again go back to the setting. I'll set some manual proxy settings. So this is my local host, host where my burp is hosted. It is hosted on localhost, and the local host IP address is 127.0.0.1, and port is by default 8080. So this can be anything in your case based on where you are want to proxy. You can add that particular IP address and port number, and also click proxy in HTTPS because most of the websites are secured that we are going to use. So it will not filter that website in that scenario. So this is one thing. So I have set it up the HTTP proxy, and socket I don't have to set up as of now. So this is sufficient, one line change, and I'll press OK. So now you see I will search something related to this bag. So now you see I'm still on this blue color bag, but I have clicked on this gray color bag, but I'm not getting response. Why I'm not getting response? Because now my request is on burp. So now I have to go to burp and I have to uh, play around the request. So let us come to burp. So now I'm here. So if you see on burp, my request is here. So I have an option to forward the request or to drop the request. Let us forward. So buckets collections. Okay, forward. So there are multiple requests actually. Okay, so okay, no, now the page is still on the same forward. Okay, still the request is not processed because it has a multiple request. So now I'll click here and I'll forward. Oh, 1 minute. I'll just refresh. Or maybe I'll intercept it on. So now I'll click on this. Now we can see some request, very different color request. I'll forward it. So still it is loading again. That means my request is still not processed. I have to forward. Okay, some issues. Restart. No, I don't want to restart. Or I'll check the proxy setting. Proxy setting is fine. So 1 minute, I'll make the intercept on, intercept off. So I'll open something related to Amazon only. Now see, still the request is processing phase. I'll come here. I can see the request here. There is some language which is not we can understand, but I can forward. And I believe Amazon has some strict way, but maybe we can take example of YouTube. Okay, so forward. Where is it's happening? 1 minute. We'll go to repeater. Okay, repeater, no such request. Okay, so this is YouTube request. I'll forward it. And yeah, so now something is coming up as a URL. Again, we will process. Okay, subscribe. So this is something we got to know. So I'll take some other example. Something it was not working with the Amazon, but there is nothing on the scenario that can happen. So now the thing is we can intercept on or intercept off. Whenever we have to intercept off, that means that time this request is directly coming from the Chrome application to the outside world. But when we make the intercept on, that time the request is coming through burp. So this thing we have to see. So now intercept is off. Whenever I'll search on the YouTube or something, so I can search anything related to sports. I can play anything. Right. But whenever we see the request was coming through the burp, so let us suppose we switch on. So I'll drop all the request. So now, as of now, there is no request under the intercept. We can see some request is coming from this side. So we can see that this is YouTube request. So we can forward the request. We can again forward the request. And at the end, we will see we can have something for here. For example, I want to play. So you see this is holding here. This is not playing because this is going through burp. Some request, video playback request came here. I can forward it. Then only once this request is finalized, then only this video will get playing. So now the request is accepted from the burp side and it went to the outside world and it came back here, and then only this video will start loading. So this way this burp suite will work with the request. So now we will take some real example with the help of take with the help of GitHub login page, how we can like make that request. I'll just show how you can use the GitHub login credential and how you can capture that credential. I'll just turn off this. First I'll try to sign in GitHub. So this is GitHub page. So there is nothing, intercept is off, all the request is coming from here. So we can forget password, or we can come back, or we can say we haven't forgot password, so create an account. So all the pages are coming up, we can say sign in. So now I'll place my credential Aditi here. Okay, so coming back, so I'll place my username and I'll set password something, test 123. So this is my credential. I want to make this credential go through the burp. I will intercept on and I will sign in. So now you see some request is coming here. So this is saying authenticity token. So there is my credential here as well. If you see, whatever I have supplied from that side, login name as Aditi and password as a test123. So this is my actual credential which I am sending from here, and that are now came on the burp proxy tab. So now what I can do is, on burp tool there are multiple tabs. I can send this request. So from here we have seen only two options, either forward or either drop. If I forward, this will go to actual website of the GitHub and it will verify my credential. So if it is correct, it will get me logged in, and otherwise it will fail. So now we come back to this diagram. So now I have sent my credential from GitHub login page as a username Aditi, password test123, and it is reaching, it has reached here on the burp. So now I have privilege to change the credential, or to play around the credential and then send the actual request to the GitHub website, and GitHub website will verify the credential that is here, and it will tell the burp, okay, your user is successfully logged if the credential is correct, otherwise it is not logged, and the same response will come back to my Mozilla Firefox here. So now I don't want to forward the request simply, because I want to play around the request. So I will send the request to the now I have an option. So if you read all these options, these all options have a different set of meanings. So if I explain one by one, so there, this tool is actually a big tool, so can't be possible to explain. So this is some scans. If some scan I want to do on the request, I can do that active scan, passive scan. But now I simply want to intrude into the credential. So I'll send this request to the intruder. So now I have sent this the intruder. You see, next step to the proxy intruder, and come to this tab. This is a position tab. So now complete request is here with the my login credential, username and password. So this is now somewhere on the intruder tab. So further I can intrude it. I can go into the I can highlight it and I can add this, and I can highlight this and I can add this, and I further now I can go to the payload tab. I can set the payload set as a one, simple list. Now I have a option to add new payloads. So here only I have option to set multiple payloads. So for example, I want to set my username here. So I want to set my username as Aditi. Maybe Aditi will not work. Aditi 1 2. I can add. I can add Aditi 1. So any number of the things I can add here, and even though I can directly load a list, So if I have downloaded that sec list, I can upload that list for the username, or similar way for the password. And once this is done, in the payload tab, once this is done, so next thing we can do is we can launch the attack. So if we have to launch the attack, here is the start attack option. So this is the attack started happening. So this is all the username position. On one position it is making combination with username 1 2 and password and status and all those things. So these are the all way to test the multiple password. So actually just I want to show how you can load the list of username password. You can store the list of passwords, very common password, here somewhere anywhere on the desktop, on the download, and you can open it here and you can pass it here. So this way you can start doing the attack here. So I'm not doing any real time attack here because GitHub is one website we can't directly forge into as of now. So this way we can use this tool to big password to forge into the username and password. So any other tool, if a directly ready-made tool you want to use, you can come to extender, and inside extender there are multiple tools here. You can directly even though search. So which one we have to search? Uh, brute force, nothing related to that. So we have to actually first search on the Google for which tool we want to use, so that tool we can directly load from here. Maybe it will be username password related something. So nothing as of now here. So we can have an option to in the extender tab to directly add the tool here, or maybe from the web store. So this tool is quite heavy like tool, have a multiple feature. So I'll just stop here. If any doubt as of now inside the burp tab, like intruder tab or the proxy tab that we have seen, how we have to proxy and how we have to intrude the request inside the positions and inside the payload, so that thing I can take on. But others, there are other tab, maybe later on sometime we will discuss these things. So I'll stop here for the 2 minute, and I'll wait for the queries for running these two tab inside the burp suite, how we can intrude, how we can intercept, or maybe how we can set the proxy. So that thing we can take on. Uh, Please, from dear participant, please raise if any doubt, otherwise we'll proceed.
I think, ma'am, none of participants have any question. We can end the session.
Sir, there is one more, few more tools. If you allow, we can take on.
Okay, sure. Please continue then.
So now I'll come back to the tools. So if we see the example in the workflow, so most of the workflow has a first thing to do is finding domains. So if I have to find anything related to the domains or mostly IPs, I'll just open the presentation. Mhm. Okay, not this one. 1 minute. Just I'll just stop presenting and I'll just look for the presentation. Yes, so this is the presentation. So if we see the workflow of the vulnerabilities, the first step is to find domains. So in the most of the workflow, the first step is to find domains and IPs. And again, if we come back for this non-exploit vulnerability, so it is finding domains and IPs. So mostly this is the first step to find domains and IPs. So now I'm going to take example for the Facebook itself. So for example, I have to find where Facebook is hosted. So I don't have any information as of now with me. I only know from the bug bounty program. If we read the bug bounty program details from here, so we only know we have to fetch vulnerability on Facebook. So for that, we have a BGP. BG dot not BGP BG dot HG hurricane tool. Tool. So this is BGP actually bgp.he.net tool. So this is the tool which actually helped me so to fetch the domains or IPs. So it will not directly give me IPs. So you first see this is complete information. So this is saying welcome to Hurricane Electric BGP toolkit. You are visiting. This is the IP address and announced as this one. Knock BSNL Bangalore, and this is another. So this is saying this is my ISP is AS9829 BSNL Bharat Sanchar Nigam, because I'm connected to BSNL broadband internet connect. So this is complete information which ISP I am using. So similar way, for example, I have to search for Facebook. So I will go. Oh, sorry, the spelling mistake. Facebook. So Facebook is actually one of the biggest website or social media. So they may not have only one IP address or one IP range. They may have a huge list of IP ranges. So how we can check them? So we can come to bg.net. So these are, if you see first these thing AS63293, these are the ASN numbers. Similarly, once I have opened this bgp dot sorry. When I opened this bg.net website, one of my ISP has given me the ASN number was highlighting here. bgp net. So I just want to make a correlation. So this is my ISP has given me one ASN number. This AS stands for autonomous number, system number. So this is actually every single device who is accessing internet, they must have IP address. So either it is IP4 or IP6, and these IPs are actually present in these autonomous numbers. So these are the autonomous number is specifically given to each device on the net. So actually what happened when I am a standalone person, I don't have any huge infrastructure over the internet. So I am this ASN number is given me by the ISP. I don't even know what is this ASN number to do. I don't even play. I only know what is my IP address if I have to do. So I can simply do what is my IP address directly. And I can find directly. So this is, sorry, this is my IP address, which is present here 246.129. So this is my IP address. I can find with the command line as well. But what if so what if I have to find for the Facebook, I have to come and search here. So this is the first tool that help us to find the IP ranges and ASN number. So this is a complete list of information which is going to be very useful. So it is also telling us which server is hosted where. So this IP is all these are belongs to US, and these are few IP addresses which are in giving Facebook Ireland. So this way we can get more information where the IPs and where the servers are hosted by the Facebook. So we have to first take this information. The very first step of the recon process is searching for IP addresses and domains. So this is one tool which is a graphic based tool. We can come here and we can search. So now for example, I have to search on the command line. I am here. I want to do something command line. I'll just increase the font size. I hope this is visible. So now I want to search for similar information. So how I can search this in that information. So this information is available with the browser based tool, but I want to use some command line tool, because while we are doing analysis, while we are doing some automation, we don't usually have access, or maybe we are working on server, we usually don't have access to the browsers. So that time, for that kind of thing, there is one another tool, ASN lookup. So I'll just show the ASN lookup tool. It is doing the similar task what we are doing here. Yeah. So this is one such tool which is a open source and free tool. So we can use this. We can see the a little bit about the tools. So this is the requirement.txt file. If we go and see, so only two requirements: terms, color, and request. So actually, this is a Python based tools. How I get to know? Because this is .py file. So this is a Python extension. So this is actually a one file tool. If I open this file, so this is all about this tool. So see, in Python there is only a few lines of code. So how this tool will work, we can read the code, we can add few more checks here and there if we want. So it is going to fetch IP6 or IP4 for us. So how this tool will work, so we can install this tool. So to install the tool, this is the command. I will first install the tool. So this is very easy thing. I will simply run the command here in front of you. I hope this is visible. So git clone means git is just mediator which help us to send or take the code from the repositories which is publicly hosted. So git is generally coming it as a client, or we can say it help us to maintain the version of the code, but code like versioning is really good with help of git. So clone means I'm taking the copy of the code from this URL. This is GitHub Yasin Abukir. So this is the username here. So this is the tool is developed by Yasin. So he created the repository with his name only, and inside that ASN lookup. ASN lookup is the tool name. So here ASN lookup, and I'm just CD into doing CD into that directory. So I'll just hit enter. So you see cloning into ASN lookup. Cloning means it is now copying started copying my code into the ASN lookup directory. So this is it is hitting into the remote object and counting the object, that's all. So if I do ls, I can see, or I'll first come out the directory. I'll do ls. There are multiple things present, but I'm only interested to go inside the ASN lookup directory. So I'll do ls. ls minus l. So you see these three seven files are there. The same seven file that are available here are similarly available here on my local. Now I can access the ASN lookup tool. So how to access the lookup tool? That is also very easy. We can simply read the command here, which is python asn lookup dot file minus o. I can give Facebook. Okay, so this is giving me some import issue because I haven't installed a requirement. Pip install -r requirements .txt. Okay, so now next I'll run this again. Okay, sorry. So I have to run this with the help of Python 3. Yeah, because mostly as of now I have a Python 2 in my laptop and Python 3, so it is getting confused. So now you see Python 3 asn lookup.py. So it is saying we couldn't connect to asn lookup.api. Okay, so there is maybe some issue with the asn lookup, or I can give https. Okay, facebook.com. I'll take the complete name. So this way we can fetch the similar information that we have here. So why this API is I don't think so. It will take this. But I'll take some example from here itself. Okay, so this way we can access. Now the APIs are not responding back for this ASN lookup. Maybe the API is under maintenance or maybe down for some time, but it usually won't happen. Tool is working. We can see this is the thing is coming. The same information we can get with the help of tool for ASN numbers with the help of this ASN tool. Next thing, once we have this ASN lookup is done, So once the ASN lookup is done, we can fetch this kind of information. So I'm running same command python 3 asn lookup dot py minus twitch hyphen twitch, and it is returning the response. Maybe this tool is open source, so maybe it is not working as of now. So there can be another tool, but this will work after maybe some time. I'll search for the twitch as well. Python 3 minus o. Twitch is another organization. Okay. Okay, so the API is not responding as of now, but you can see the similar information of IPs. All IP4 and IP6 are available here. So this is the last two are IP6 addresses, and rest of are the IP4 addresses. So this is ASN lookup tool. So this is very easy to use. A similar way that we have seen this bg.e net tool. So similar information we can get for the IP addresses with the ASN lookup tool. So the next important tool that we will do is ASN enumeration, or this is a mass tool. This is again very important, or like a very important tool while we do this recon process. So this tool is maintained by OWASP itself. So this is maintained by OWASP. So they are like updating this tool every day if they found something, and they have huge data set. So this tool is a really good tool, and will actively help us to find the vulnerabilities. So if we have to search for this tool on or download this tool, so we can search a mass by OBS GitHub. So usually whenever I search for tool, I directly go to the GitHub pages. So this is OWASP tool, a mass tool by the OWASP. So you can see this is the biggest tool, so has a huge code files. So what exactly this tool is going to do? This is going to do DNS. It will help us to do brute force, reverse DNS. So this tool is actually doing multiple tasks, not only one task. How we can download this tool? So we can issue this command. This is very simple. So whenever we come up with new tools, so first of all, we have to read about the tools. We can make the installation. So like I have a MacBook, so I can use these two commands. So if you have like Ubuntu based machine or Linux based machine, you can use with the help of Snap, or there is a Docker container is also available. Directly we can pull the Docker image with this Docker pull command. So this is actually Go programming based tool, but installation is quite simple. I'll take these two commands to download the tool. So this way I can download this tool, Amas tool. So Amas tool is really a very good tool to enumerate. So how this we can use? So a mass tool is divided into main four subcategories. There are one another, so but mostly that we use is four different categories. So first is Intel. Intel means intelligence. So whatever the intelligence that we have to apply by ourselves, that actually a must do for ourselves. So I discussed about the knowledge base, I discussed about gathering information. So a mass tool is doing all those things. It is gathering information from here and there for multiple sources, multiple databases, and it is applying all those intelligence while we are finding domains. So what exactly a mass intel do? It collect intelligence on the target in order to determine your starting point. So the most important thing for finding vulnerability is the finding of the starting point. So as of now, we have only IP addresses with ourselves. So IP addresses, once we have IP addresses, how to start, from which IP address we have to start, what exactly we have to do. So a mass intel will help us to do that. And after we apply the intelligence with a mass intel, next thing we can do is enumerate. So enumeration comes like we can perform enumeration and mapping of your target to determine possible attacks. So once we have the starting point, we can enumerate that end point and we can do some attacks on that particular targets. So these two commands, amas intel and amas enum, are very important. We can make them like in combination of some other command. We can use them in straightforward way. So there are different ways that we can use, but this is the top most important tool that really help us, because this is the tool which apply intelligence on behalf of us, this apply enumeration on behalf of us. Another thing is biz. So biz stands for the visualization. So for the example, we have made our analysis. Now we want to show something, or we have some results, or we want to visualize that result. So we just want to draw some analysis or some beautiful graphs out of that. So we can do this biz, amas biz command we can use to visualize. And another important point which is offered by AMAS is track. So track is like comparing two results across enumeration to see changes in their attack surface. So usually when we do the vulnerability assessment, sometime we have to scan the target every day, or maybe sometimes in twice a day, or sometime once in a month. So sometime analysis, vulnerability analysis will take a very long, so they are not one day process. So in that case, we have to place this a mass track command. So how we place, for example, I'm doing analysis every day, so for Facebook. So I can do a mass track to compare the result of today and yesterday's scan. So if any difference comes up, then I can see, okay, yes, there is some update on the website, yes, there is some update on the browser, yes, I can explore some vulnerabilities based on these updates. So these kind of feature, if we have to track, then we can use this amas track. So these four commands are really helpful. They are actually giving us a very good result as well. So this is not only just simply running command, but they actually help us giving back some good result, which actually indirectly help us to find the vulnerabilities. So based on these four sections, we have commands for amas tool. So there is actually one other section we I didn't have placed it here, that is amas db. So amas db is to store result in the database. As I said, like we have to store the output of each scan, so that we can store that result for the future analysis. That means we have to store that result in amas db. So we can use make use of database as well. So this is amas comes up with 5 subcommand. Similarly, the name I just shown in the previous slide, which is amas intel. AMAS NM, AMAS Biz, AMAS Track, and AMAS TV. So very simple thing it do, nothing difficult to understand. AMAS Intel discover target for enumeration. So once the targets are available for enumeration, we can perform enumeration and we can do the network mapping. So once we have the mapping, so we can use these commands further to visualize the enumeration results in form of graph or chart or maybe flow chart, and we can track the difference between the scans, and we can manipulate the AMAS graph database as well. So these are the 5 basic commands. So now I will just take one another example. This I'll just close. Okay, so okay, so something mass is not working. 1 minute, I'll download it as a package. So otherwise I'll simply comes here and explain the commands that we can run directly. So this is the ASN number for one of the website, that is Twitch. So I have downloaded this Twitch website ASN number. This is I can simply find with the first tool that we have discussed here. So in place of Facebook, we can take the example Twitch. So Twitch is having two ASN number. One is this AS46489. So once I have this ASN number, I can enumerate it with the help of AMAS enumeration. So simply what command I can use is AMAS Intel. So AMAS Intel hyphen ASN, and the same number ASN stands for autonomous number, and 46489. So this is the number that I can use here, and I can fetch the result for the domains. So how many domains are hosted on this particular ASN number? So this is IP ranges number. So these are the 4 domains or 5 domains hosted on this particular number. So once I got these 5 domains, so now I can see I have to find the vulnerabilities on these 5 domains. So now I can say I have widened up my scope. Initially, I have only one thing with me, that is Twitch. I have to find the vulnerability for Twitch company. From the bgp.hetnet tool, I found this ASN number, and from this ASN number, I found the further domains. So this is the domains. As we were discussing in the workflow, first thing is to find company and then find the company domains. So now these are the domains. Any vulnerability comes under six any of these 5 website, I can submit the report for those vulnerabilities. So this way we have to find the hidden information for the vulnerabilities assessment. So now next one is reverse who is. So once I have find this websites, these websites, I have to just make sure is this the website really related to Twitch website. So that thing I can do with the help of reverse who is. So let us come back to this tool reverse who is. Okay, whoxy.com. So we will use whoxy.com. Yes, so this is the another website that we will use. So now we have this output. This five domains are there that we have to search for the. And are they really belong to Twitch, or is there any false positive result? So for example, I will search for this just in.tv, because just in.tv is very different from the Twitch name. So I will just make sure I'll enter the domain name here, justin.tv. I will start my search. Okay, so it is saying to verify something. I'm not robot. Okay, so now we can see justin.tv. What information I got? This is the domain, and this is registered registrar details, and the query time. This is same information when it got registered. It got registered in 2006, 15 years ago, and when it got updated, it got just updated last year. So expiry date is next year, like just after 8 months. Okay, so these are the name server where it is hosted, and this way we can get the information. So similarly, this is the one justin.tv. So we can see for the twitch.tv as well. So same information I can have for the twitch.tv. So from here I can see domain name is twitch.tv, registrar is Mark Monitor Inc, when it got registered, where the name servers are, who all domains statuses are. So these all kind of information I can fetch from Hoexi. So now I just want to show another example. This is Hoexi record. We can fetch the similar record in the JSON format. For example, our website, we are using the APIs. We want to use this JSON. We can use this JSON. Here is XML form as well. So these kind of things we can have. So other thing, okay, so what other thing we can fetch from this website is Huexi history, or we can fetch the company name, we can fetch the email address. So for example, I fetch something, but now I want to fetch email address of that company. So I can fetch the email address based search as well. For example, somehow I got some email address of some Twitch employee, so I can place that here and I can click on go, so I can also search that thing. So this way this Hoexi actually works. So now I'll take that query that was raised in the previous section for the Hoexi API. So this is the graphical interface, but now I want to access the same database with the help of APIs. So there is a Hoexi APIs. So I can access the Huaxi APIs with Huaxi API keys. So how we can use the Huaxi APIs? I will go for the Huaxi uh, database. I have to first actually log in. I don't. Hmm. Okay, so I got logged in successfully. So now I can see if for accessing the Huaxi database or Huaxi website, what I have to do, I have to have my API key. So every single user has their own API key. Likewise, I have a username password to access the website. Similar way, if I want to access the APIs, I have one unique API key which is dedicatedly assigned to me. So now this is my API key. I can use or I can make request to this website with the help of this API key. So I can use any Python based script, Java based script, or maybe some simple Java standalone Java code. So I can use this API to access all these kind of APIs that is offered by Huaxi.com. So we can get more information on API setting here. So here we can add API restrictions as well. Sorry, IP restrictions as well. We can add some more information on APIs for IP addresses as well. We can restrict some IP, or we can delete this API key. We can add new API key. So those things I can do with the help of API to access this particular endpoint. So this is one thing that we can do with the Huaxi. Same thing I have like here. So we are doing with the help of AMAS Intel ASN number. This information further we are supplying to the new tool. So as of now we have discussed three tools in the recon process. First one is we were doing this in this we were fetching this information for the Twitch organization, for which we are looking for the vulnerability with bg.net. And once this ASN number are came, we can store somewhere these ASN number, and we can further analyze these ASN number with the AMAS Intel command. So this information I have supplied to the next tool, which is AMAS tool. And this tool gave me these further five domains, and I can pick domains one by one, and I can supply this to one by one these kind of domains to Huaxi, just to re-verify, to check who is who, like is they really related to Huaxi, related to the Twitch or not. If I found some false positive, I can drop that endpoint for further analysis. So this is one thing. And this is the way I have just explained to access the API. One way one can use the Huaxi APIs as well to access the Huaxi database inside the code. So till here we will take the queries. So I'll stop here. I'll mute myself, and then we'll stop here for the queries, if any. So any further tools you want, or any particular tool you want to discuss, I can frame the queries and respond back over the email or somewhere. So I'll just mute myself, or we will stop here for the queries session.
Sure. Dear participants, if you have any query, you can ask. Ma'am, I think participants do not have any query or questions.
Okay, sir. So we
Okay,
can wind
so yeah, I think we can wind up this session. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your session and for the time. It was wonderful session. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, all the dear participants. Thank you so much.